putting the financial part aside and whatever resources you may have, how have you been able to locate and secure so many of the rarest and desirable cards in existence? Now, we kind of talked about it already, but can you maybe tell a story about one of the hardest cards you ever had to acquire for whichever PC you want to talk about?
Right. One of the hardest. Yeah. Maybe let me quickly address the earlier part you mentioned. I think the essential credential in the 90s were still very popular. I think it remains like the top two like throughout 90s. If you check the Beckett price list, the price is really high and always in the hot list, I think. But during the last 10 years, early part of the night, I think that was the time where Exquisite and Ultimate or early Paninis, like auto patches, they were more kind of sought after, right? So, and I was also, I think I just try to basically eat up all the rare credential when they come up. So there's no, and I try to get them in various ways. So there's no big sales, which kind of tend to attract the market and all the dealers. So I keep them low as much as I can before I complete them. So that was my feeling. But I understand maybe hockey side is slightly different, but it's a nice kind of intersection between two sports, right? The essential credentials. Let me think of a story, rarest card in existence. Let me answer this question directly first. I think the search function of Google and to know where to look and what to look are kind of already half of the job. Like you can basically just put the full name in the Google and it will lead you to various places. And that was just basically the way I started off. And sometimes there are some tricks like back then when eBay is more like open, right? You can, once you find a seller or buyer throughout the provenance chain, you were able to kind of cross-reference using the feedback and so on to find various owners or and also when you see a rare cards of a player, just to maybe not to be too lazy, just send him an email on eBay and say, do you have this card? And also for rare cards, even if you don't want to secure at that time, just send him an email when you can just look back, right? You can search the email and locate exactly where. And that helps me a lot. I think, for example, and also sometimes people are very kind, like to help you out. I think I have a very important Kobe cards where a friend just tipped me, okay, there's this card and this owner, maybe you want to reach out and see if he was willing to sell. And I did that. And that person was a huge Reggie Miller collector. And he already had the most, the most wanted cards already, only a few pieces missing. So he gave me the task, you just find those pieces and then you will get this Kobe. It's the Kobe 97-98 Flair Showcase Masterpiece Row 0. So you could make a case that could be the best Kobe 1-of-1 in the 90s or something. So that kind of asked me to become a Reggie Miller collector and also to search all those cards. Yeah, so that take 7 years for me to fulfill his wish list. Eventually did the transaction.
7 years. So I've heard stories like that before where, someone has a card that you want and they'll say to you, listen, I'm not letting this go, but if you can find me my grail or this card I've been searching for and bring it to me, then I will trade you or we'll work a deal and I'll move you this card of mine that you want. I've heard stories like that before. I don't know that I've ever been involved in one of those, but I've heard those stories before. So aside from that, really, just to summarize what you're saying, it's searching the internet, using Google search and just searching the internet, looking for cards you can find, relying on friends and your network, other hobby contacts to let you know that, hey, I saw this card. I get messages, DMs almost every day with people saying, here, look at this card. And, you know, oftentimes it's like, hey, I have those same saved searches. I'm searching these things all the time. I've already seen it. I certainly appreciate it. I don't want people to stop doing it because you don't see everything, but it's very helpful. And, you know, whenever somebody sends you a card that you hadn't seen yet on eBay or whatever auction site, and you don't, you know, you weren't there, you didn't know about it, that could be very, very helpful, because you might go and just hit the buy it now and make sure it's yours before someone else does that. So that's another really good. And then the other way, I don't even know if you mentioned that, but it's just the card is on eBay. The whole world knows about it. The whole hobby world knows about it. And then you just got to make the highest bid, and then the card can be yours.